taking a part-time gig as a bridesmaid. I never expected to run into my ex. Then I got front row seats to watch the bride elope with her own ex-lover. As I tried to slip away unnoticed, Ethan grabbed my wrist and announced to the entire crowd, "We're switching brides, the wedding continues." Before I could protest, he whispered in my ear, "100 million. Marry me." Deal. Only a fool would turn that down. You'll become unmarriageable if you keep being a bridesmaid for pocket change. My mother nagged while I did my makeup. If that superstition were true, I'd already be doomed. Friends and acquaintances always recruited me whenever they needed last-minute bridesmaids. Being the sole unmarried person in our circle made me perpetual backup. That's how I discovered my true calling, professional bridesmaid. Listed among the top candidates on our agency's site due to my extensive experience. I spend half each month in chiffon dresses and the other half traveling to weddings. Though unconventional, the paychecks keep me content. Relax, Mom. I'll find you a son-in-law whenever I feel like it. Besides, getting married myself would put me out of job. I quipped, dodging her familiar lecture. You've sung that tune for years. Bring home any man and I'll support you myself, she retorted as I escaped out the door. At 28, I saw no urgency. Half the grooms I'd stood beside eventually became someone else's husbands anyway. Braving the wind to protect my carefully styled curls, I road-shared to the luxury hotel. A pro always arrives early. I slipped through the service entrance and changed into the finest bridesmaid gown I'd ever worn. Ms. Adams. Let's review the schedule, I said to the bride, already mentally counting my bonus. Then I saw the groom. My stomach dropped. No one warned me the bridegroom would be Ethan, my infuriating ex. His raised eyebrow confirmed equal surprise. I avoided his gaze, silently vowing to screen all future clients thoroughly. Though rattled, I maintained professionalism. The real problem was the jittery bride constantly glancing over her shoulder. When she nearly tripped, I steadied her arm. Watch your step, Ms. Adams. Her haunted expression puzzled me until the ceremony began. The officiant droned on while everyone else fidgeted except Ethan, who smirked during our exchange. Fancy meeting you here. Still doing this? Your mom must despair. I gritted my teeth. At least I'm not the trophy husband. His face darkened. I don't need to marry into money. Could have fooled me. You look like her personal trainer. I flashed a saccharine smile before repositioning myself away from him. The bride's clammy hand suddenly gripped mine. Before I could ask if she felt ill, the doors burst open. A disheveled man in black shouted, "Mia! Run away with me!" To everyone's shock, the bride murmured sorry Ethan and fled, leaving me trapped at the altar with my smirking ex. OMG. You guys won't believe what just happened. I just witnessed a real-life runaway bride scenario. Turns out those romance novels aren't exaggerating at all. Before anyone could react, the bride had already bolted from the hotel with her lover. The crowd erupted into chatter while the bride's parents scrambled to send people after them. Though we all know how these stories go, they'll never catch up. By tomorrow, Ethan will become the laughingstock of their social circle. I had to mentally replay every tragic moment from my 28 years just to keep from grinning. Nothing beats getting paid to watch my ex's embarrassing meltdown. All his earlier insults suddenly don't matter. Karma's biting him hard tonight. As I turn to leave the chaotic scene, no bride means no need for bridesmaids. Right? Ethan's gaze locked onto mine across the room. Every survival instinct screamed danger. But he moved faster, grabbing my wrist and hoisting it up like some auction prize. New bride. The show goes on. Wait, what? I didn't agree to. His breath tickled my ear as he whispered, 10 million. Marry me. My protest died mid-sentence. Sweetest smile activated. Let's do this. Chicken out and you're a literal puppy. While changing into the miraculously perfect wedding gown, seriously. Where'd they get this so fast? I miss Ethan's smug smirk, the kind that suggested he'd planned this runaway bride situation all along. Not that I'd believe it even if confronted. Who expects their wedding day to implode like this? The makeup artist worked her magic as Ethan materialized behind me. I addressed his reflection without turning. "Don't forget the gift designation on that wire transfer." He snorted. "Lily, after all these years, you're still the same money-loving girl." I wiped off smudged lipstick. Duh. Otherwise, why would I be here playing replacement bride? Gotta admit, the man's still stupidly handsome. All chiseled jawline and effortless charm. Not that I'm slouching either. Gone's the college girl who paired hoodies with dress shoes. Now we look like some fairy tale couple instead of Beauty and the Backwoods Bride. Back in the day, Ethan would duel anyone who badmouthed me. "Since when did you become such a smartass?" I'd tease. "Natural talent." He'd smirk. "Just never cared enough before." Now I realize how cringy we were, though part of me still thrills at his over-the-top protectiveness. But let's be real, only an idiot would pay $10 million for what 5 could fix. Some people never grow out of their dumbness. "Did you at least change the entrance banners?" I demanded as he lounged nearby. "I refuse to get married under someone else's face." "Since when do you care about appearances?" His trademark smirk appeared. "Thought cash was your only priority. Health matters too, can't spend money if I'm dead." Relax. We photoshopped your head on the existing posters. Sustainable weddings are in. I facepalmed at his eco-friendly logic, but whatever, the gown's scratchy lace and his nonsense both become bearable when imagining that bank notification. Walking down the aisle alone felt surreal. There stood Ethan, looking every bit the storybook groom. For one dangerous heartbeat. I wondered, what if we'd stayed together? Would we be doing this for real by now? Then reality snapped back. No use dwelling on maybes. Time to collect my paycheck and enjoy the open bar. I took step after step toward Ethan. Emotions already running high. Only for him to whisper in my ear, "Regretting dumping me yet?" I rolled my eyes so hard they nearly stuck. "Get over yourself." If I had regrets, the person rushing into this chapel wouldn't have been the bride's first love, it'd be me. Imagine me standing at the altar asking if you wanted to elope. What would you choose? Ethan slid the ring onto my finger, his lips quirking. I'd still pick the billionaire heiress. That guy's family owns coal mines, too nouveau riche for her parents' taste. They practically gift-wrapped this marriage because the Johnson family sounds better in society pages. He extended his left hand expectantly. "You think I'd throw away generational wealth for what?" "Starry, I'd romance with someone whose bank account has cobwebs." Charming as ever. I deadpanned, adjusting his platinum wedding band. He leaned in until our nose tips almost touched. "You're the one who gave me the 'we need to be realistic' speech during our breakup. Lily, don't start clutching pearls now." The officiant cleared his throat loudly. "If the lovebirds could save the banter for the honeymoon? We've got 200 guests waiting for you to actually get married?" I startled, suddenly hyper-aware of the retreating camera crew. The last thing we needed was footage of us eye-rolling through our vows. "Right. What's next?" Ethan asked. All faux innocence. The officiant mouthed kiss her with exaggerated urgency. My stomach dropped. We hadn't so much as held hands since our messy breakup 3 years ago. Ethan didn't hesitate. He flipped my veil back with theatrical flourish, cradling my face like some romance novel hero. His lips barely grazed mine, a chaste pact that still made my cheeks burn. $1 billion merger. He murmured against my mouth, loud enough for the front row to hear. "Least you could do is let me get my money's worth." The crowd erupted in applause, completely buying this farce. Congratulations to me, bride of the year. Exchanging rings in a chapel empty of anyone who actually cared. I could already draft my Quora post, "Marrying your ex for corporate synergy, AMA." Post-ceremony. Ethan vanished faster than champagne bubbles. I changed into jeans in the bridal suite, tossing the Monique Lewillier gown at the stylist. "Tell Mr. Johnson I went home." Wire the payment by midnight. The after-party buffet proved more tempting than dignity. I was elbow-deep in prime rib when a college kid squinted at me. "You look exactly like the bride." "Third cousin," I said through a mouthful of hors d'oeuvres. "Genetic lottery, right? Fate, being the bitch she is." Chose that moment to have Ethan walk past the dessert table. His Armani loafers stopped dead beside my sauce-stained sneakers. "Lily Carter." His knuckles whitened around my shoulder. "Did I starve you during negotiations?" I swallowed hastily. "What's the matter? Worried I'll dent your prenup with Wagyu expenses?" The vein in his temple pulsed. "You're supposed to be halfway to Bali by now. And miss the open bar?" I popped a chocolate-covered strawberry in my mouth. "Please. This is the most expensive meal I'll ever have at your expense." His laughter startled nearby waitstaff. "Still petty after all these years. Still rich enough to make it cute." I shot back, grabbing 2 champagne flutes from a passing tray. To realistic choices? Ethan's toast clinked against mine. To billion-dollar mistakes. We both knew the wire transfer cleared hours ago. Yet neither of us moved from that buffet table, trading barbs and canapes like the world's most dysfunctional business partners. Some mergers, apparently, required more than signatures to dissolve. Oh no. Caught red-handed. But I remained perfectly calm, gracefully wiping the grease from my lips before giving him an innocent smile. "Mom's been nagging me to come home early. Just trying to finish dinner quickly." As Ethan and I stood locked in our standoff, the guy with the 190 abs from earlier sauntered over wearing an "I told you so" grin. "See? Sis? You lied to me." Yeah. Aren't you just the clever one?" Ethan's hand slid from my shoulder to ruffle the guy's hair. His voice tight. "That's your sister-in-law. Not sis." "Got it, bro." "So, is it a family tradition for wives to move back home after marriage? Why isn't she going with you?" Excellent question. I shot Ethan a look urging him to fabricate something fast. The man lived up to his debate team reputation, conjuring a plausible excuse within seconds. "Of course not. She's just packing her things at her place. Finish your food and scram." Before I could process this, Ethan yanked me up and dragged me to the lounge. My makeup artist, bless her, immediately gathered her kit and exited, leaving us alone. "You can't seriously expect me to move in. This is a fake marriage. How am I supposed to date if we cohabitate?" Ethan leaned against the sofa, twisting the ring I'd forced onto his finger. Following his gaze, I realized I still wore mine too. I pulled it off and offered it back. "Keep it." He ignored my outstretched hand. "We need to discuss terms." "Fine." The platinum band looked expensive anyway, maybe I could pawn it later. "Did you think I'd pay 100 million just for one performance? Isn't that the deal?" My genuine confusion met his exasperated glare. Who knew he'd take this so personally? "Lily, do you really think earning 8 figures should be this easy?" "All right. Lay out your conditions. First, separate residences. But you attend all required events. Manageable for a freelancer." I nodded. "Second, no relationships for 2 years." Sold. 2 years of celibacy for generational wealth? Sign me up. Third, if anyone discovers this arrangement's transactional, your payment drops to 10,000. Capitalist genius. Though challenging, survivable. I swallowed my pride and agreed. "Good. I'll drive you home." When we pulled up to my apartment, I didn't question why Ethan stopped for gift baskets until Mom ambushed me at the door. "Where's my son-in-law?" "What son-in-law? You're hallucinating." I tried pushing past, but she gripped my arm like a vice. "Don't lie." The wedding photos blew up the family group chat. "That impromptu ceremony? Brilliant. Bring him up." Back downstairs, realization dawned. Ethan straightened his tie, hefting the presents. "What are you doing?" Meeting my mother-in-law. He bounded upstairs before I could react. The man clearly anticipated this. Since when did our marriage go viral? I scrambled after him, cursing my new gold-plated shackles. Why did our marriage get discovered by my mom? And now it's spreading like wildfire in the family group chat. Ethan shifted everything to one hand, pulling me up the stairs as I gasped for air after climbing what felt like Mount Everest. You didn't know? He asked, raising an eyebrow. Know what? I wheezed. Arranged marriages between families like ours always have press coverage. The bride's side took this ceremony extremely seriously. They invited half the media outlets in town. My stomach dropped as I remembered all the cameras flashing during the ceremony. I'd assumed Ethan cared so much about appearances that he'd hired professional photographers. Nobody told me those were actual journalists. While I mentally kicked myself for agreeing to this scheme, Ethan bounded up the remaining steps to my apartment. Oddly, he paused at the door to smooth his Armani suit and adjust his tie. Sudden stage fright for someone who'd been dragging me around all day. Why so nervous? It's not like she's really your mother-in-law. I muttered. Ethan shot me a look that could frost glass. To your mom right now. I am 100% her son-in-law. Before I could retort, the door flew open. My mother's stormy expression melted into sunshine when she saw Ethan. Oh, you must be Ethan Johnson. Ma'am. Please call me Ethan. His charm offensive activated instantly. Dimples on full display. Ethan. Come in. Come in. Mom practically dragged him inside, leaving me to close the door. I smirked, anticipating the interrogation about our sudden marriage. Let's see how Mr. Johnson explains this without mentioning our contract. But the con artist was already launching his Oscar-worthy performance before Mom could ask a single question. Mrs. Carter. I know how sudden this must seem. I've been a terrible partner to Lily. Lily? I mouthed incredulously. Since when did I agree to being Lily? And an unworthy son-in-law to you? Our breakup years ago was my fault entirely. Ethan clasped his hands like a penitent sinner. We were young and stubborn. When our families arranged other marriages, well, fate intervened. The other woman found true love, and I realized my heart always belonged to Lily. I wanted to sink through the floor as Mom dabbed her eyes. This was worse than soap operas. I promise we'll have a proper wedding when Lily's ready. For now. He flashed that billion-dollar smile. I need to handle business overseas. Lily should stay here with you. Consider it my chance to make up for lost time. Mom ate up every word. By the time we walked Ethan out, she looked ready to hand him adoption papers. As I turned to escape to my room, Mom grabbed my arm. That's your college sweetheart, right? The one you dumped when Dad got sick. Which one? I played dumb. The handsome one who kept sending care packages. I told you not to push him away because of money troubles. We broke up because he annoyed me with trivial stuff. I lied. Mom's smirk said she knew better. Anyway, you kids finally worked it out. I'll start planning the real wedding. This morning I thought you'd die an old maid. But look at you married by afternoon. Young people move so fast these days. Before I could protest, Mom winked. If only babies came this quickly. I fled to my room, face burning. Every bit of this chaos traced back to Ethan and his Oscar-worthy performance. I needed to confront that silver-tongued devil about his little faded lover's speech right after figuring out why he suddenly decided to call me Lily. Just say we're not in a rush to get married. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Ethan, $1 billion is too much to transfer at once. I'll split it into multiple payments. Check your account, $2 million just went through. My phone buzzed with a bank notification right then. All my earlier frustrations vanished instantly. With $1 billion on the way, I'd attend 5 weddings for Ethan if he asked. Me, received. Boss. Ethan, smiling emoji, let's visit my parents this weekend. Me, sure thing. I'd braced myself for disapproval from Ethan's family, but nothing prepared me for their actual reaction. We'd agreed to meet them Saturday. While my schedule was wide open, Ethan, poor guy, still had to work. To avoid awkward solo time with his parents, I waited to arrive with him. My knuckles whitened against my wrinkled pants during the entire ride. You're more nervous than I am. Shut it. This is your fault. Your parents will hate me, no job. No connections. No money. You better back me up. Who says they'll hate you? Ethan side-eyed me. Obviously. What family wants a freeloading daughter-in-law? Especially one dragged into a last-minute wedding sham. Arriving at the Johnson estate, I gaped like a country bumpkin touring a mansion. Everything fascinated me, particularly the exotic flowers I'd failed to grow for years. Ethan backtracked when he noticed my absence. Stare all you want. Move in and gaze at them daily. Can your gardener teach me how to keep these alive? He smirked. Trade secret, only my wife gets that knowledge. I cultivated these myself. Cheapskate. Ethan gripped my wrist until we reached the grand foyer, then slid his hand into mine, startled by human contact. I tried jerking free, but he held firm. We're here. The Johnsons awaited in the parlor. Genetics blessed Ethan, his mother's elegant cheekbones and father's strong jawline merged perfectly. Mrs. Johnson's cheepow radiated grace, while Mr. Johnson's tailored suit screamed boardroom authority. I gulped. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. Pleased to. Ethan yanked me forward. Mom. Dad. I told you to dress casually. Look how terrified she is. Mr. Johnson's posture instantly relaxed into a friendly slouch. Blame your Aunt Lee. She insisted we impress our new daughter properly. Before I could process this, Mrs. Johnson seized my hands, soft palms devoid of calluses, yet warmth radiating through her grip. Lily dear, we've waited ages. Ethan should have brought you sooner instead of burying himself in work. Truthfully, I'd picked the farthest possible date on his calendar. No worries, Mrs. Johnson. I understand Ethan's busy schedule. The parents immediately launched into scolding their son. Ethan lounged on the sofa, shrugging at me like this you're doing. We'll have Ethan plan a proper wedding redo. Mrs. Johnson declared. Really? A small ceremony's fine. I don't have many guests anyway. Nonsense. You deserve grandeur. What began as introductions morphed into floral arrangements and venue debates. By evening, my brain throbbed. Who knew sweet Mrs. Johnson transformed into a wedding tyrant? Overwhelmed already? Ethan teased as we left. Thought you were tougher. This is even more exhausting than my day job. Next time, handle this kind of thing yourself and just let me know when it's done. Ethan expertly turned the steering wheel. Come to think of it, I was the one who accompanied him when he got his driver's license years ago. That summer, he managed to stay fair-skinned while I ended up looking like I'd fled the Sahara after squatting in the sun watching his lessons. Are you just being a professional bridesmaid these days? Yeah. I had regular jobs earlier, but nothing clicked. Stumbled into this gig and found I actually enjoy it. Oh. Then what happens now that you can't be a bridesmaid anymore? I froze. Why wouldn't I? Ethan parked outside my apartment. You do know married women can't be bridesmaids, right? The realization hit like a truck. How could getting married make me unemployed? I buried my face in my hands. Mind racing. At my age, what kind of job could I even land now? Suddenly Ethan's hand settled on my shoulder. If you're interested, my company needs a graphic designer. Wasn't that your major? I whipped around to stare at him, leaning uncomfortably close. Why are you being so nice? What exactly are you after? He blinked, then shoved my face away with his palm. What could you possibly have that I'd want? Don't flatter yourself. I'm just giving you a shot at the interview. Whether you pass depends on you. Gathering my things to leave, I muttered. Oh, I thought maybe you wanted me. Good thing you don't. I've sworn off romance anyway. Who would? Watching his car disappear, I smiled. That idiot still doesn't realize his ears turn crimson when he lies. Back there in the car, they'd been practically glowing. Fibber. I'd assumed Ethan was joking about the job opening. Everyone knows how selective Johnson Enterprises is with hiring. But when his text arrived with interview details, my jaw dropped. Just securing you an opportunity. Getting hired depends on your skills. Scrolling through the position requirements, graphic design. Portfolio review, everything aligned perfectly with my education and early career experience. Be honest, did you pull strings for this? Ethan called immediately. You know I don't mix personal with professional. I'll give you money, but I won't hire idiots. If I were bending rules, you'd already have the job. Logical. Yet this chance felt too perfect and terrifying. Hearing my silence, his voice softened. Having second thoughts? Worried about being rusty after years out of the field? He wasn't wrong. The incident that drove me from design still haunted me. Those early savings allowed my carefree lifestyle, choosing bridesmaid gigs over office jobs. How could I compete now, having barely touched design software in years? Whatever happened after we broke up, even a 10% chance is worth taking. If not this, there's other opportunities. I'll think about it. Thanks, Ethan. A pause lingered before his response. No pressure. You're technically a billionaire now anyway. His words made me chuckle. Right, with that divorce settlement, I could lounge forever without working. Why stress? If I get in, dinner's on me. I'll hold you to that. After hanging up, I dusted off old portfolios. Thank God I'd taken freelance commissions through the years. Pulling an all-nighter, I updated my resume and sent it before dawn. After sorting everything out, I opened the door and nearly jumped at the sight of my mom standing there. Since I hadn't heard any noise, I'd assumed she was still in bed. Mom, why are you so quiet? I didn't want to disturb you while you were busy, she said, eyeing the dark circles under my eyes. Did you pull an all-nighter? Come eat breakfast. Then go rest properly. Her familiar maternal concern warmed me instantly. No one else cared this deeply. I crashed immediately after breakfast and didn't wake until mid-afternoon. The moment I grabbed my phone, an unknown local number flashed on the screen. My pulse quickened. Smoothing my bedhead despite knowing the caller couldn't see me, I answered. MS. Carter? Yes? This is HR from Visionary Tech. We've reviewed your resume and believe you'd be an excellent fit. Are you available for an interview this week? The unexpected success left me dazed. Still in pajamas, I threw open my bedroom door to tell Mom, only to freeze. Ethan lounged on our living room sofa. Alone. What are you doing here? Ignoring my question, he scooped me up and carried me back to my room. Shoes, he chided, setting me down. Trying to catch cold before your big interview? I shoved my feet into slippers. You're being ridiculous. One barefoot minute won't. A traitorous sneeze cut me off. Ethan raised an eyebrow. After defiantly eating the luxury strawberries he'd brought, I pressed. Seriously. Why visit? Do I need reasons to check on my future mother-in-law? Cut the act. I snapped. This arrangement is temporary. Don't start believing your own performance. He placed a glistening berry in my palm. You're the one reinforcing boundaries first. Could it be? His voice softened. You want this to become real? My throat tightened. I stuffed the strawberry in my mouth. Never. When Mom returned, her dinner invitations rolled off Ethan like water. She made me walk him out. Neighbors waved as we crossed the courtyard. but I kept my hands jammed in my coat pockets. "Knock 'em dead at the interview," he said at his car. "I know you will. How did you? Soundproofing's not your bedroom wall's strong suit." As I turned to leave, his arms suddenly wrapped around me. "Lily," he murmured into my hair, "whatever made you quit before? I hope you'll chase what truly matters to you." The words resurrected memories of Mom's heartbroken whisper years ago, "But you loved that job. After your father passed. Those were your happiest months." I'd bitten my lips raw rather than explain the harassment. Now, watching Ethan's taillights disappear, I touched the pendant he discreetly left in my pocket, a tiny silver phoenix. My thumb traced its rising wings as evening frost crystallized the pavement, each step cracking the ice beneath my soles. Hearing Ethan's words now recreated the scene from that time. I still didn't explain why I'd left my previous job, but I hugged him back. "I know. I'll be fine." I watched Ethan's car disappear down the street before turning to go upstairs. During those 2 days preparing for the interview, I reviewed professional materials. Age had admittedly dulled my memory, but rediscovering my passion for this field brought genuine joy. The interviewer asked the inevitable question, "Your former company was highly regarded. Why did you leave?" I took a deep breath. My supervisor sexually harassed me, and the company failed to take disciplinary action. Ethan was waiting outside the interview building. He'd clearly heard everything through the thin walls. "Lee, don't pity me. Ethan." I gathered evidence and got him arrested. That's why I initially avoided returning to this industry, but now I'm ready. I straightened my blazer, heels clicking decisively as I walked past him. My resolve lasted precisely 4 hours. By midnight, anxiety drove me to a neon-lit food truck alley where I found Ethan already seated at a plastic folding table, immaculate in his charcoal suit. The sight shattered my composure. What if I bombed the interview? My prep was terrible. I slurred around a mouthful of skewered chicken. Ethan dabbed barbecue sauce off my chin with amused precision. That confident act this afternoon had me fooled. "Fake it till you make it." I chugged my beer. "Just hire me at your firm already. You owe me for ruining my bridesmaid gig." "Lee Carter, where's your dignity? Dignity doesn't pay rent." He let me ramble until the alcohol won, catching me mid-snore against a tower of empty bottles. My final coherent memory was tearfully lamenting the broken recording Baird gifted years ago, how I'd haunted every repair shop in the city when its messages of encouragement deteriorated to static. Morning sunlight revealed 2 things: Ethan's handkerchief still clutched in my fist, and the congratulatory email glowing on my phone. The subject line blinked triumphantly, "Offer extended, welcome aboard." The first thing I did was message Ethan Johnson. "Me, I passed." "Ethan, congrats." "Congrats." "Me, you didn't pull any strings for me. Did you?" "Ethan, you're overthinking. If I ever pulled strings, it'd only be for my wife." "Are you my wife?" My smile froze before I quickly changed the subject. Thankfully, he didn't press further. My start date was next Monday. I went shopping for work clothes this week, hadn't worn anything this formal in years. The tailored blazer felt stiff, but staring at my reflection, I saw the fresh graduate again. That ambitious version of myself before everything happened. On my first day, I found my favorite bubble tea at my desk before realizing everyone had one. "Newbie special from the boss." A colleague winked. I smiled, noticing Ethan's text, "First day fuel. You've got this." I sent back a fist emoji. The workday left me exhausted yet fulfilled in ways my previous jobs never did. I expected Ethan to keep distance at the office, but he texted immediately after clock out, "Parking garage. Now. Your manager says you're adapting fast," he remarked in the car. I countered, "Do you personally monitor all new hires, Ethan?" His gaze held mine. "Only the special ones." The charged silence between us became our new normal. New Year's Eve changed everything. "My parents want you over tomorrow," Ethan said. I declined, pulling out a black card from my purse. He chuckled. Already handing over your salary? Shouldn't I be the one? This is the $100 million you transferred 6 months ago. The car screeched to a halt. Lily Carter. Are you ending this? His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. Money-bought relationships don't last. Ethan. Says who? His intensity frightened me. I exited mid-argument, leaving with this isn't over before he could see me cry. That night, I dreamt of our college days. I'd pursued the scholarship student, unaware he was a Johnson heir. Our bubble burst when Dad got sick. Relatives sneered. Why not ask your rich boyfriend? You'll dump him anyway, get something first. Their words still sting like yesterday's slap. Back then, my classmates had mentioned similar things, but I was too wrapped up in the relationship to notice. The decision to break up came after repeated emotional breakdowns. I knew it was unfair to Ethan, and that he didn't even care about these issues. Yet I chose to walk away. Maybe I was too weak back then. Maybe I lacked the resilience to handle the pressure. After the breakup, I did regret it. But since I initiated it, I forced myself not to dwell or reach out. Sometimes it's manageable when we're apart. But seeing him again, it floods me with thoughts of how good things could have been. Next day, Mom. Where's our family's household registry? Ethan's perspective. When I got home, my parents called asking if Lily could come over for dinner. Though I desperately wanted to bring her, I couldn't and didn't want them knowing about our situation. I collapsed on the couch, drifting into fitful sleep until sunlight hit the bank card on the table. How did we end up here? I never mentioned officially getting back together to avoid triggering her past memories. Yet even this transactional arrangement wasn't enough to keep her. I partially understood why she'd broken up years ago, but couldn't let her know the truth. Her family background mattered deeply. If she'd known about the Johnson family status back then, she might never have pursued me. The wedding had been negotiated with the bride. I knew before the ceremony it wouldn't last, she'd bolt. And I'd lose nothing. The only wild card was Lily appearing as bridesmaid. When I saw her, my heart hammered. My brain screamed, this is our last chance, keep her close. So I played to her weaknesses, bribing her with money for financial security, maneuvering her back into her dream career when workplace politics overwhelmed her. Yet none of this rebuilt what we'd lost. Draping an arm over my eyes to block the sunlight, I barely registered the doorbell. Zombie-like. I opened it to find Lily covered in snowflakes, crashing into my embrace. She looked up with that sweet smile, waving her household registry. Mr. Johnson, she teased, breath visible in the cold. Beautiful weather for getting married, don't you think? I crushed her against me, the single word scraping through my tight throat, always. Thank you all for the company. Your support fuels my passion for sharing these sweet romance stories. See you next time.